you can't just deliver what you delivered in 2019, 2020, or well, maybe even going back a little further, and really feel like you can make a mark and do, innovate.
You can't think that way anymore. You have to think like, as much as it's possible, like a year ahead.
The whole landscape has completely changed.
If you don't think that that's going to happen, or you're not talking to your agency about it, or your agency's not talking to you about the changes that Amazon's doing, you're behind the game already.
If you're just sitting on the sidelines or you're taking the playbook that you just ran this year or last year, you're going to run into issues, because what we're already seeing, what the data shows, what I'll go over in my presentation, is that a lot of these trends have morphed even from a year ago. This year they've changed. They're going to change a lot next year as well. And so getting out ahead of those a little bit, and the data kind of shows this, is going to put you in a better position from an advertiser perspective.
What will e-commerce look like in 2022? How will our industry change, and how can we plan ahead? We've pulled together 8 of the top minds in the e-commerce industry with a broad range of experience, perspective, and strategy to answer those exact questions today and to speculate on the year ahead. This is the video you need to watch to stay ahead of what's already happening and of what's to come in the near future. Everything from laws and regulations to supply chain and logistics to Amazon Live. It's all here. I don't want to waste any time. 2022 e-commerce, let's get to it.
I think one of the things that's going to radically change, and it's a focus of ours on Amazon and off, is live video, and the way live video is, and really taking a page from what's going on in Asia with Taobao, Tmall, and all this other stuff. I think the majority of my competitors now are like not embracing that, and it's coming.
I think it's coming from the regulatory side.
Okay.
I think all the regulators in the House and the Attorney General's offices across the country have all realized that existing laws aren't going to help them break up Amazon and reduce some of their power. So what are they doing? They're making new laws. Wow. And I think there's 14 laws going through Congress. I have one special request: outlaw the practice of buy box suppression. Mm-hmm. If they do that and they pass that one law, I think it would have huge repercussions and open up competition with the other marketplaces.
Specifically Amazon, it's social media. They're building their own social media. Right. And if you don't think that that's going to happen, or you're not talking to your agency about it, or your agency's not talking to you about the changes that Amazon's doing, you're behind the game already.
It used to be a few years ago, I would go to China, talk to, go do a factory tour or something, and I would ask the question, are you selling online? Are you selling your own products online? And the answer was always either they were confused about my question.
Like it wasn't even a thought.
Or, yeah. And now they have an entire e-commerce divisions. And, shopping malls in China are filled with Amazon sellers with pallets of goods, using them as storage. So the whole landscape has completely changed.
The global supply chain issues that we have started to see this year, I believe will also continue to 2022.
Like, as in it will escalate? Do you think it'll stay the same?
I think we're going to see a little more congestion, at least in the first half of 2022.
In the old days, brands would just try to survive Q4. There's so much going on, so much selling. Some of them would have a listing suspended, have to appeal it, and they'd be troubleshooting, but they wouldn't be planning, right? They'd just be trying to get through Q4 because that's their peak of the year. Not for seasonal items, but for all other brands. You can't think that way anymore. You have to think like, as much as it's possible, like a year ahead.
I've seen a lot of more successful video lengths, particularly on larger, deeper portfolios of video across to, like, say, a single brand, rather than just doing one premium video and then 2 or 3 supplemental videos. If you think about like a chessboard, it used to be that you could have your king, super highly produced, and then a couple of some smaller pieces, exactly. And I think that there are services out there that are letting you proliferate a little bit more and even automate that in a way that you kind of need to beef up your total amount of content, and the cost of being able to do that is going down.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is what you saw, especially last year, early in the pandemic, we're talking like April, May, June 2020, was there was a huge volatility in terms of the keywords that were popular, right? That from month to month, those were changing a pretty considerable deal. And what we've seen is, now typically, you look in years past, that it remained relatively constant. Obviously, there's change. You're seeing this year that kind of start to push back, where now those popular terms are staying popular a little bit longer. So because of that lack of volatility, what that means for you as a seller is you need to understand what those terms are, be able to capitalize on them, and then where there is volatility, okay, can you take advantage? Can you find where those opportunities are? Because it's going to be harder than ever when in 2020, right, you could be a seller that kind of maybe lucked into something where you're like, okay, I have a product that's getting hot, a category that's getting hot, and you'd be able to really take advantage of a big increase in volume. You're not seeing that nearly as often, this past year, and that's going to continue to be the case, where you see that those popular terms just stay popular.
Is Amazon going to have to remove its private label business? Is Amazon going to have to separate FBA, their fulfillment network, as a separate business, and how does that affect me? Is AWS going to be peeled off? And I think if any of those things happen, I think the one underlying theme that we can count on is that costs for sellers are going to go up.
Two things on Amazon. These are going to be like the top two things I think that are going to change on Amazon. And we're seeing the beginnings of it now. Again, one of them is Amazon Live Video. I do not understand why people are not doing that. Like, we've seen massive growth with this. I mean, in short, you get to go live and show up on your competitor's listing and piggyback on their traffic for free.
Free for now. Right?
For free, yes.
Yeah.
Free for now.
Yeah.
Maybe this time next year, I don't know. The other one is, and it's been popping up, is that follow button. And being able to build an audience. Now, I don't think you should build all of your audience on Amazon at all, but being able to build that audience, I suspect, and this is like total suspecting on my part, I mean, Amazon's biggest driver is ads. And if you can have an audience built, perhaps you can have ads that can be run to your audience or people that follow your brand.
There's a bigger global presence. More Amazon marketplaces are growing globally. So I think we're going to see a continual growth, but also a lot of change in terms of supply and demand. There's going to be a lot more people entering the marketplace, and also a lot of people that are in the marketplace are going to get knocked out because they either don't have the margin to compete, or they just are having so many problems with, the changes in the supply chain.
I'm excited about two sort of big trends. I think one trend, just from an opportunity perspective, we're seeing all these brand aggregators out there. Right. So we're seeing some, consolidation happening in that space. I'm looking forward to seeing, who's going to be the winner.
The winner of that space.
Because there's so many out there. I don't think there's, the challenges some of the brand aggregators are probably going to have are who's the best operator out of them. The other thing that I think is going to happen is there's going to be consolidation on the seller services side. So it's not just the aggregators who are consolidating brands, but the seller services market. Folks like the Caspians of the world, other folks, software services, who's going, where are the IPOs there? Where's the consolidation, the acquisitions there?
Those margins on these marketplaces are going to get more crimped. So it's really, sellers have to get more and more strategic and creative about how they can really get the most out of their presence there, because it's not going to be, even if you were a successful seller 5 years ago, to be a successful seller now, you got to do a lot of things differently, whether that's bringing in a 3PL partner, whether that's, really finding those efficiencies in advertising as best you can with kind of, again, we use like real-time, bidding and other things to kind of keep you in the forefront. But you got to have these strategies because it's not, you're up against more competition. All the consumers are flocking there more, so it's even more important for you to be on there and really capture that demand. So it's a lot more difficult, and those margins are going to be crimped. So it's like the best sellers are going to be the ones that can get around that.
When I talk to clients, I'm talking about two things: diversification of ads, more ad types, effective bidding strategies, because the cost of ads are going up. And the second thing I'm talking about is diversification of fulfillment. I never would have said that 18 months ago. I never would have said, be sure you can do FBM and FBA, but I'm recommending it to all of our clients now. Don't just rely 100% on FBA. Also have either your own warehouse tech capabilities or, better yet, 3PLs in multiple locations so that you can deliver fast, not only for Amazon channel, but for your Walmart channel, for your Shopify channel, for your BigCommerce channel, all those others.
People say, so much is going on, should I even bother starting? It's like, yes, absolutely. We are on the ground floor of what e-commerce is going to become. And I think it's just so cool. You think of like how food delivery changed and how, restaurants and traditional brick and mortars have completely pivoted. And imagine what that could look like, and imagine all of the places that we could fit into the market, from service-based businesses to applications and software. And, this is a great time to have some knowledge and a foothold in e-commerce.
And I would encourage any Amazon seller out there. I know it's tough, it's challenging out there, but just execute every day with passion. Go in there with the energy that you probably did when you started off this business, and everything will be fine.
We are blessed to be in a time right now where there are good people in the space, Teikametrics. Even if somebody, and I've seen this and I've heard this from countless people, even people that wind up not, engaging or hiring Teikametrics, you guys are a wealth of information to kind of teach people to go on the right path. And I could see where that fits in a business model. They do this thing, they get better, maybe they're a better fit for Teikametrics later. So there's educators in the space that host these, events like Seller Velocity that educate sellers that are reputable. You also have communities in the space now, whether it's on social media or something like my meetup group in Miami, Florida. So you have a lot of stuff where you cannot be 100% reliant on guessing or Amazon YouTube University. Don't get discouraged by what I think are going to be continued skyrocket, stratospheric prices on shipping. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you pulled out some really good information looking ahead into 2022. I know personally I had a blast interviewing each of these experts, and there's more to come from these interviews as well as other videos talking about e-commerce, the future, the present, technology, and everything in between. So to stay up to date, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.